What is up, YouTube? It's Leon here. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I'm back here today with another video, this time about how I made Master Ball for a third season straight and what decks I've played. Let's check it out. So, as you can see here, I was the 3,153rd person to make it into Master Ball. I hit a 7 game win streak with a Buzzwole deck, and that was just one of the decks I used to get from the bottom of Ultra Ball 4 all the way to Master Ball. So that was 227 points, I believe, since the first day of Ranked came out. And I'm here to show you the list I decided to go for regarding Buzzwole and regarding the other decks I've also played. So, let's have a look. So as you can see here, I've played many different variants of decks. Where you have your Darkrai Giratina Nihilego, your Arceus Giratina, Solgaleo Skarmory, etc., etc. And I did play every single one of those decks in the span of the last 3 days, but there was only three decks I found a lot of success with, and one of them being Buzzwole. So I decided to go for the Buzzwole variant that includes Red Card and Mars, plus the one Kartana. The reason behind this was that I wanted to run Red Card Mars because I was struggling quite a lot with the Charizard matchup, and the deck just innately struggles in that matchup. Like it's not a very good, does not have a very good win rate. But I feel with Red Card and Mars, you can kind of delay them because once you set up and you start swinging, there's not much they can do. So that is why I also opted for the Katana as well, because it's just one cost, 40 damage on their Charizard, on the Charmander. So it just keeps swinging for 40, which is really good, and you can usually tank about 2 hits. It can go even more if you have the Erica. Now, speaking of Erica, you can see I'm only running one. The reason being I found is I wasn't running into that much Buzzwole itself, and that card Erica is only really good into the mirror match. So took out one, and I made sure to add, the red card and the Mars. And I also opted for two Cyrus because I think just opening Cyrus is really good in this deck. Like you really want to have Cyrus, and every time I played it with one, it felt like something was missing from the deck, and I was like, "Where's my Cyrus? Where's my Cyrus?" And sometimes it would just be in the last two cards of my deck. So obviously, I want to avoid that as much as possible. The other thing is, which is quite different from other lists, is I play one Lusamine instead of two. The reason being is that I feel like this variant, you can stack energy quite easily, and most of your Pokemon can tank 1 or 2 hits anyway. So I thought it was just best not to constantly see Lusamine, and whenever I saw it, it was great. And when I didn't see it, it didn't feel like I needed it. So I decided one Lusamine was plenty enough, so I decided to go for the double Cyrus instead. And last but not least, the one Beastite. I think B-side was just really helpful in terms of just getting the damage numbers just slightly up, especially when you're pairing it with Kartana, because you're more likely to get that 1 point, so your Pokemon are just swinging for an extra damage. Now that could also mean your Buzzwole is swinging for 130 instead of 120, which means you can hit a Giratina that's already attacked you once. If you have 2 points, you can kill a Darkrai, which is great. And it felt like even like Kartana just being able to swing for 50 was in 1 or 2 occasions quite nice. And even Pheromosa, like so I've even like beast-typed Pheromosa just to get her 30, swing into a Darkrai do 50 instead of just the usual 40. And this list has just felt really nice. I have to add though, this list has been tailored for ranked itself, not for tournaments, because in tournaments it I feel like if I went into a tournament, I would probably cut out the Kartana and the red card on Mars and maybe opt for another Erica or Lusamine, and that's because I don't in ranked I you face like a lot of different style decks, and that's when Red Card, Cortana, and Mars come in, and the second Cyrus. So that's why I think this list is just like not perfect because there's no such thing as perfection, but for me at least, this is what worked, and end up getting that 7 win streak to get into Master Ball. The second deck that I played quite a lot and got a lot of wins was the Solgaleo Shiniotic deck. This deck, when I saw it, I was like, "What is this? This doesn't look good." But then I actually started playing it, and it felt really, really strong and really, really fast, which is really surprising because you're running two evolution lines, a stage one and a stage two. But it was just surprisingly consistent. Of course, I did hit, I think, a 5 game winning streak with it. So it felt really nice because I was high rolling a lot. I was always seeing my Shiniotics, I was seeing the rare candies and stuff. But then it felt at some points I would just go on like a 5 game losing streak because I would just not see the cards that I needed. Because the whole point of this deck is you want to just set up double Solgaleo as fast as possible. And every time I did set up double Solgaleo, I won every single game. The games that I didn't was when I struggled to even find the first Solgaleo because the Solgaleo is your only damage output. Yes, Shiniotic can hit for 40 for 2 colorless, but it, it's not enough. I think once I knocked out an Incineroar EX with the Shiniotic plus red, but that was it. You really need your double Solgaleo, and this deck just gets hard countered by Charizard if they just set up like they need to delay quite a lot in order for you to be able to beat Charizard. They need to get really unlucky. Into Silvally Rampardos, it's just a 50-50 matchup. It's whoever opens better. It feels like if Silvally Rampardos just open, your Fossil, your Type Null, and Silvally, like you just pretty much GG. There's like you're just guaranteed to just keep losing your basics. So I was not the biggest fan of it. But when if you can just get into that win streak of high rolling all the cards you need, it's just great for a just short boost win streak, like a 5 game win streak. It's great. So I find that it was just amazing for that. Yeah, the deck build itself is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, you run the two more lulls, the Cosmoem for a bit more consistency, the Shinotics, Solgaleo, etc. And then there's a Sabrina, Cyrus, Mars, Red, and Lily. The Lily feels nice because you can just have your Cosmog and Cosmoem just tank damage, and then you can just heal it back up with Lily. So it's always amazing to have that. Red is just to get those damage numbers up, hit that Buzzwole for 140, hit Darkrai, and just yeah, I mean Mars, Cyrus, and Sabrina pretty self-explanatory. The last deck I used, which I found a lot of success with, was Silvally Rampardos. I found a lot of success with this deck in the first day of ladder and the second day. It just helped me get through like the bottom, the depths of Ultra Ball 4. It helped me just get out of it. If you're just looking to climb and you're enjoying and you really like Rampardos, this is the deck for you. The deck itself is pretty self-explanatory. You open Type Null every single game. You have Gladion to be able to search you the Silvally or another Type Null. And what I have gone for in this list is a Giovanni, and I really just like that Giovanni because I was encountering a lot of mirror matches sometimes with Silvally, so it was just really nice to be able to just have a Silvally set up, Giovanni, and just one shot their Silvally instead of just trading back and forth. It just felt really annoying when that happened, so I just went for that Giovanni plus and damage, great. And then obviously the one Guzma, it was really really good, especially into those poison decks with the poison barb and into Buzzwole as well, getting rid of those leaf capes or the beastites, it feels amazing. So yeah, I don't think a red is necessary here. I think with how the meta is right now, it's not that EX focused. So I think just Giovanni is just a better call right now as things stand. And yeah, this was just the third deck I played. Now, obviously, I said I played a lot of the other decks as well, and you have your Charizard Incinerator. If you're running into a lot of Buzzwole, you can play this deck because once you set up, there's not much they can do. You just one-shot everything on your path. The problem with this deck is if you don't open your Charizard on your second turn, so you can wreck Andy, you are just kinda like the more turns go by, the chances of you losing just increase because once others decks set up, Charizard is not that built in into just setting up late and then winning the game. The whole game plan of this deck is set up Charizard as soon as you can, and then third turn just start swinging for 150 damage, and you're just unstoppable. Right? So yeah, if you're facing a lot of Buzzwole, just play this deck. But if you're not, if you're facing a lot of Silvally and Solgaleos and stuff, it's good. The Solgaleo has a decent matchup as well, unless you're playing the Skarmory variant, which is a bit more difficult. But if you do, especially if you see a lot of Buzzwole, just play this deck. If not, just probably opt out for one of the other three decks I played instead. Because it feels very high rolly. Anyone that played last season, they know that if Charizard sets up early, there is not a single deck that can stop it. Obviously, apart from your Oricorio, for example, right? But we don't have much Oricorio in this meta. And speaking of Oricorio, you have your electric deck, which it felt really strong for a few games. When you would just open Zera Aura every game. But if you don't open Zero on your first turn, this deck just feels so lacking in damage. Because yes, it sets up fast, but sometimes it's not fast enough with how the current meta is shaped. Because the current meta is not set up to, go many, many turns. Everybody just wants to swing for a lot of damage fast. The only kind of half exception to that is Buzzwole, where if the game goes later, it doesn't mind it so much. But this deck just wants to go early, start swinging. But if your opponent can just delay a few turns, you are struggling. This deck has a really, really bad matchup into Silvally Rampardos. It has an okay-ish matchup into Buzzwole, but even then, you have to open Tapu Koko going second. You have to go second, you have to open Tapu Koko and Zero Aura, and you have to pray that they haven't opened their healing cards, their capes, and just the rest of their combo. So probably really not that okay-ish, but it is a winnable matchup. But yeah, I played a bit, got a few wins out of it, but then I saw that it just struggled into how the meta evolved. The last deck I wanted to talk about that got me quite a lot of wins, and I don't know if anyone else was playing it. I did see it one or two times in ladder, but I haven't seen it online at all. Is this the Decidueye Pheromosa list? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Other than Charizard, this deck is quite strong. I really enjoyed it. It feels like once it sets up with the Rowlets and the Pheromosas, you can just with your Decidueye just start pinging it 100 damage anywhere you want on the board, which it felt so nice. Be able to just kill whatever you want. But the problem with this is just a bit of the consistency issue that other decks just don't have as much. If you don't see your Decidueye, you're just stuck with the Pheromosa, just stuck in that ceiling of 20 damage per turn, which doesn't feel great. Yeah, I played this though, and I got quite a few wins out of it. I think I went on a 4-game win streak with this. And then I went another 3-game win streak today. But it's a very nice deck. I really like it. It's not completely fine-tuned. It's more like whatever I just put together. I saw someone playing it in one of my games, and I tried to copy it, but obviously I did not have the whole list. And this is kind of what I opted for. The red does feel nice in some situations, but I feel like sometimes it might not have been needed. So in the future, I might cut it out for maybe a Lily, or even just a normal just Giovanni. I'm not sure. Maybe even another red card. So yeah, this is the last list I sort of played, but not that much because I was seeing a lot of Charizard, so I had to switch, and then Buzzwole was just enough to just get me into Master Ball. That was it for today's video, guys. I hope you really, really enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please do let me down of your thoughts down below because the meta is evolving every day, and I want to see what your experiences are in ranked and what are you struggling with, and any way that maybe I can help you get over that step and reach Master Ball. See you next time.